Heyo, welcome to Contrast, episode 3. I'm Mike Jones, and I'm joined here today with Peter El Tondo and Daniel Love. And we are going to have Allan Peters on our show today. So welcome, everybody.
Hey, Mike. Thanks. Hello.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Y'all doing all right today?
So good.
Yeah.
Doing good.
Doing
One
great.
of those busy weeks that like Tuesday felt like Friday already.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're stoked
Crazy
to
it's
have...
Wednesday. No, I'm just saying it's crazy. It's Wednesday already.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what, time does fly by, especially the older you get. Anyway, all right, look, I'm just going to talk to Allan for a second. Allan, me and you have known each other for a while now, like, I don't know, 10 years easy. You are widely known as one of like a design influencer, one of the best brand guys I personally know. But for those folks that don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Allan Peters. I am from Minnesota. I grew up in Minneapolis. I live in a suburb now called Eagan. Got 4 little boys, lovely wife. I spend a lot of time raising kids as well as designing logos.
Yeah. I think all of us can sit here and say that about each one of us. We all have plenty of children.
Yeah. Over the years, people know me for different things. For a while, I was the designer who had got shot and survived a gunshot. For a while, I was that guy who worked at Target and did all their branding. And lately, he's that guy who fixes logos on the internet. And so it'll be something else. It'll be something else in a few more years. We'll see.
That's awesome, man. Well, this episode is going to break down kind of redefining failure, finding success after setbacks and that kind of thing. And that's kind of where we're going with this today. So, y'all ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Awesome. So
Let's do it.
Can you take us back to a time early in your career when you felt like you had completely failed? What happened? How did you handle it? That sort of thing.
Okay, so boys in general mature fully when they're 25 years old. And when I was in high
That's
school...
still debatable, but yes.
I'm still
Well, they're-
17 on the inside.
Their brain is developed. How about that? They might not be
Okay.
mature. How about...
There you go. There you
But I was far from mature in high school, and I messed around, and I didn't do great, and I got into college on probation. And I had to get a certain GPA, and I worked really hard and switched my major early on, decided, you know what, how am I going to make a living with a drawing major? And so I switched into design, decided to check that out. I liked math and geometry and stuff like that. And so I get into this, and I felt like I was behind because I hadn't been doing design courses for the first year. And so I slammed through all of them in like 1 year, like the whole college worth of design courses. And
That's a lot.
And designers, especially early on, they develop a lot. It's like a baby. You know, the amount that they learn from age 0, from the day they're born to 4 years old, compared to what somebody learns from age 30 to age 34. It's not even a comparison. You will learn so much more in that first little bit. And it's the same thing when you're starting out in a career or on any path like that. So here I am. I'm still learning taste. I'm still learning design and all these things like that. And they have this thing in Minnesota called Portfolio One-on-One. And it's AIGA thing. And students get to meet with professional designers and have mock interviews with them, people who are in the field. And they get to have their work reviewed by a pro. There are situations where people have got hired, you know, even like junior year of college and stuff like that. They got internships. And I thought, oh man, this is awesome. Like I got a shot at this. And I got in there, and one of they pick all your people you're going to be with. It's like a raffle. And the second person I was going to meet with was a dude from CSA, Charles Spencer Anderson Design, which is he's in the history book, CSA. Awesome. They did all the French paper stuff. Gorgeous, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there's a designer from there who I'm maybe interviewing with. First person I meet with, I show my portfolio, my book, which wasn't a portfolio because I hadn't taken portfolio class yet. It was just like the big black boards and a big leather case. I don't even know what they do that anymore, but it's just like dumb thing. And I'm laying out my awful student projects. And the first guy, I don't think he wanted to be mean, so he just like said nothing basically. He hardly smiled. I don't think he smiled. He hardly spoke. And that was fine. I was like, whatever, the CSA guy's coming up. Maybe I'll get hired for an internship. And I meet with the CSA guy, and I go through my book, and he's like, all right. do you want this interview to be over with, or do you want me to just rip into it? Because he's like, I'm going to be completely honest with you. And I'm like, all right, just tear out the Band-Aid, just do it. And he's just like, this project, you need to take it out. It sucks. This project sucks. This project sucks all the way through. And there's like, there might be something here, but you need to start from scratch on, and there might be something here, but you got to start from scratch. Basically, just trashed everything I had ever made up to that point. Now, college wasn't a cheap thing. It never is. And the school I went to wasn't like the cheapest art school or anything like that. I was going to a pretty nice art school, 4-year course, College of Visual Arts. I had some money because an aunt of mine had passed away when I was young, and my dad put in stocks and doubled it. And so I had $20K set aside for me for college. So I always was like, I'm going to go to college, even though I was like a C- average in high school. But I had it set in my head. I'm like, I'm going to do this. And so here I am, basically told everything I've made in college up to that point is trash. And I'm like, oh man, like I wasted all this time. I wasted this money. My parents have invested some extra money, and I worked my butt off over the summers to make it so I can go to college. And it's just like pointless. It was all pointless. I'm not a good artist. I'm not going to succeed in this field. And so I go out, and there's supposed to have a third interview. I go out and I sit in the hallway, and I'm just like destroyed. And some girls walk up that go to my college, and they're like, oh, hey, Allan, how are you doing? How's everything? How are your interviews going? And I just started crying. And I don't cry a lot. I'm not like I don't know if it's like culture or whatever. Like, it takes a lot for me to cry. So sometimes it's sappy, maybe we'll do it. But I couldn't even talk. I was so messed up, and I didn't go to my third interview. I drove home, and I felt sorry for myself for a while. I was just like felt defeated and like a total loser. And then I was like, well, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to fix those projects in my portfolio. I'm going to make all these new pieces for my portfolio, and I'm going to build the whole damn thing from scratch. And in my last year, I redid every single piece of my portfolio. I hardly slept, worked my butt off. And when I graduated right after 9/11, and the economy just was tanking. Everybody was getting laid off. It was just like not a good time to try and go get a job. And my buddy Nick Smazel, who is a super talented designer, he works at Blue Dot. He's a creative director there. I think he told me he went on like 27 interviews before he got an internship over the course of like a year and a half or a year or something like that.
That's a lot.
I know. It just nobody was hiring, and I went into my first interview, and I was like, I will scrub the floors. I will clean up the paste up room. I'll do whatever you want. I'll take all the trash work that you don't want to do. You don't even have to give me a creative project. I'll just do production for you. I'll make it so that your jobs and your lives are easy. I just want it in. And I got that first job.
Nice.
And just like, I went hard at it. And I've kind of had that same mentality since then. It's just like, I'm running hard and going after like every project, trying to make every project the best it can be, working hard, putting my head down and just sprinting forward and trying to succeed. And I know we're talking about failures. All wisdom comes from failure. You have to fail.
Oh, for sure.
Every time you fail, you learn something, and you keep moving forward, right?
But you have to do what you did and apply the knowledge of what you learned to move past the failure. And I think you showed that, and like, hey, I'm going to go on and I'm going to work at this, and the portfolio is going to be super dope, and I'm going to redo everything, and I'm going to take it at what he said and like listen to that expert and move on and get better. And I mean, clearly it's evident that you did that, but wow, like to be told that at that stage and to still pick it up and not quit, that's inspiring.
That's a make or break moment.
For sure.
Yeah. What I love about just the theme of today, as you just said, Allan, is like, there's people that will worry about failure, and it's like the scariest possible thing that could happen to them. But I think it's something that needs to be embraced more often, because failing, I mean, we always say here, all the stuff that we've learned, how we run and operate our team, how we manage projects, bill clients, you could apply it to anything.
Yeah.
You reverse engineered a solution based on a mistake or a failure in the past, and that's what allows you to get better. And I mean, I'm sure as you look back now, that design review and getting ripped apart was probably one of the best things that could happen, because otherwise you would have been entering the job force with that portfolio and not the work that you really wanted to put through. And so coming back to it and then putting your best foot forward. Oh, yeah. Like I remember when I was in design school, I went and visited like my old brand teacher and, you know, a couple semesters later, and I'm watching him do reviews in the class, and he's honestly praising really bad work, but he called me into the class to say, you need to see some of the stuff. And I'm going, why are you being kind to this? Like, I understand there's a respectful way to give feedback, but this work sucks. You need to be honest with people and tell them and let them know how to build this up and how to get better. You're not doing anybody a service to, you know, placate and pass off this as like good work.
Right.
This isn't setting people up to move forward and get jobs and whatnot. So I love seeing that. Oftentimes, especially with friends, we like to be a little kinder with our feedback sometimes, maybe than we should, versus like, no, like change this. This will make it tremendously better. Remove these items out of your portfolio. Focus on that and the results, and, you know, people with the right attitude to have that grit to go after it. I mean, it pays off huge.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Well,
definitely.
It's not helpful to just be told like everything's great. You know, constructive criticism is wonderful. I had a boss at Target, this guy, Todd Waterbury. He was the chief creative officer. He just recently retired in the last year or two. And his feedback, when he'd give it, it was scathing at times. And usually I at first I'd be like, like I just so like a little frustrated, walk out of the office like, oh, it's like he's gonna ruin it. He's gonna ruin it. And then I'll go make the changes, and it always made it better. And then after a couple of times, the first like getting to know him, I was like, oh, he's wise. He knows what he's talking about.
That's his way.
He's a heck of a good designer, and he's not just that high because he's really good at business and talking. He's that high because he's such a good designer. And like, it's a dude who started at Duffy. You know, he worked at White and Kennedy.
He knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Man, that's wow.
Yeah.
Daniel,
sorry, I interrupted you, Daniel.
No, I was going to say, I remember before I started working with Peter, like he gave me some really good feedback on my portfolio, which ended up, you know, leading me to get my foot in the door with an agency. So yeah, it's just be willing to grow and learn, and don't be offended.
Well, I remember that was a fun example, because I have a friend of yours send me your work, and I was like, okay, I see some really good things here. My feedback is honestly just to bring the portfolio, because, you know, I would say like, if you're going to rate someone's portfolio 1 to 10, what does it rank? And I was like, I'm making up the numbers here. I don't know. It's a 7 right now. But if you nix all these, I think it's going to be a lot stronger. And then I got sent your portfolio again 6 to 12 months later. And I remember going, oh, wow, this is really good. Okay. And then I'm going, I've seen this before. I know who this is. But just the removal of some of the older work that as we grow and learn as designers, you go, oh, dang. So I love seeing when people take that to heart and do it. And again, I'd rather see 3 or 4 case studies on your site that are really good rather than 10, but a couple of them aren't as strong. It really makes a difference when you see that. So, I remember that.
Well,
was there,
if you're looking at a website, somebody can easily, like, you get to a dud, that's when you scroll away. That's when you go to another site, you know? So like, you got to hold their attention span for at least 3 solid projects, I think, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good advice.
Yeah.
For all you noobs out there, 3 solid projects.
3 bangers at the beginning. The first 3.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you
like
brought up your...
No, I thought about what's the guy's name from Parks and Rec, where he talks about his playlist. It's like bangers only.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense though. You want to show not only the work you want to get, but the best work you can do.
Yeah.
Always put your best
I recommend
foot forward.
people every 6 to 12 months go through your portfolio, and I'm sure this is a lot more applicable to folks in their first.
We've done
years,
this.
you know. We still do it. Like
we still do it.
Yeah, we go back and do it on our team count and everything, and it's like, all right, what don't we want to show anymore? Like, this is good. It's good work. It was good work then, and might even still be good work now, but we do better work. So
yes,
that's what
or it
we
didn't
want
get
to
as much
showcase
traction.
when you start. Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah, it's good thing to do regularly. Find the friend or two that you can trust to give you that real feedback and go prune and just, all right, what are my 3 best or my 5 or 10 best projects now, and remove the others.
So Allan, you brought up that guy at Target that was in charge of you, that was giving you the feedback.
Yeah.
And, you've worked there for a while and you were leading their brand work. Did you ever have a campaign that didn't land like you thought it would? How did that go? How did you recover from it, if there was one?
All right. Pre-Todd Waterbury, before he worked there, when I was first at Target for a little bit, I got a project, and they wanted a team that was really good on it. It was one of these situations, I think stocks were down, and they needed to sell more toys post Black Friday, but before Christmas. And they needed to they're like, we're going to run I think it was like a Wall Street Journal ad, or the New York Times, maybe. It was like an expensive ad buy in a newspaper. And they're like, they wanted it almost like a circular. So the circular is like the Sunday ad you get with the price points on there really big, and $3.99 for these shoes, like that kind of thing. But we had to come up with a clever ad, but they had products with price points on it. We wanted it to be good, and they didn't care. They're just like, we want to show cheap prices and that we can show this product. Like the marketing people, they're just like, we just want we want to show that we got the toy that you want to buy for us less than the other guy, and we want to put it in here. You guys do whatever you guys do, but we don't really care what. Like I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I don't think they care what it looked like. And it was, our hand was forced a bit, because usually with if you look through like great like classic print ads, or like I have books of them and stuff like that. Usually it's like a little headline, a logo, and like a really cool big idea, and that's it. There's no product. There's nothing else. It's just like a full page spread, beautiful print. Like that's what me and my writer partner, like, we wanted to create something like that. But anyways, ended up with this really clever way of showing, like, I think it was like his, hers, yours. And it was like headlines like that. So it'd be like his, like it would be like a toy for this, the hers, something for the wife, and then something for you, or whatever. It was, and it had a whole bunch of like 3-liner things like that. It was like, it was kind of a fun way. And then it had the product, and it was very Swiss. So like Swiss design is like usually left justifies, big Helvetica type, like that. Really clean, nice layout, right? And it's very important that everything's kerned perfectly tight, but not touching it. You get into the details and then nerd out on it. So anyways, I did that. I was an ad that anybody, like not anybody, well, most of the people there, if they would have had it, they would have just got it done like whatever, just like out of the can type, just like, I don't really want that. That's not going in my portfolio. I don't care. I sat there and I worked late, and I worked my ass off, and I kerned every little piece of type on that whole thing. I made it beautiful.
Oh,
right?
Man.
And everybody there, all the other designers are probably like, he's crazy. Like, why would you waste your time? Like 6 months to a year later, they hire a new designer, this guy, Taylor, really talented. He comes in, and he's kind of like an ad/design guy, and he's decorated his office, putting stuff up, and he pins up this freaking newspaper ad that I designed on the wall. And I saw it, and I was just like, it took me a while to get up the courage. And I walked over, I was like, are you fucking with me? Like, what is this? Are you trying to give me off the time that I did this? It's like probably the lamest thing I've designed at Target. Like, are you, what? He's like, no. He's like, I saw that before I worked here, and I just loved like the thoughtfulness that was put into all the type and how clean it is, and like how well designed it was, even though it's like a product ad. And I'm like, no way. Like, serious? I'm like, you're not messing with me? He's like, no, I'm not messing with you.
He's like, I didn't know you did this.
Oh, man. Respect.
I think he took it down after that. The way I reacted, because I was just like,
oh, man.
You're messing with me.
Mind games.
But it was appreciated for the design, and somebody saw that. And even though that's like a small thing, like, who did the ad do what it was supposed to do and drive toy sales? Probably would have done fine if it wasn't perfectly designed and kerned up, probably just fine. But that moment was, I think God has like little things that feel like coincidences that happen in your life, but they're these tiny little miracles where he's talking to you in like little tiny ways, little winks. And I felt like that was a moment for me where I'm like, it's so weird. It's too much of a coincidence for that to not be like a little encouragement. Like, all that hard work you're doing is people are seeing it. It's worth it.
Details matter.
Yeah.
Details matter.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he respected your attention to detail, and
Yeah.
you got to hear it from someone that saw that and appreciated it. That's awesome.
It meant a lot to me.
All right. We often hear that failure is just a stepping stone to success, but that's easy to say after you succeeded, which you clearly, for most, have succeeded. What's a project or moment in your career where at the time you thought, this is it, I've blown it?
A moment in my life where I thought I'd blown it. When I was 29 years old, 2009. This is a while ago now. I was shot in my backyard, and I was shot in a situation where I probably did. Well, no, I did the wrong thing. I did something that was stupid. We were having a birthday party for my wife, and after everybody had left, and it was close to midnight, we were having a fire out back, and two men entered the yard with masks, ski masks on, gloves, completely covered head to toe bandanas. And all you could see was just the slits of their eyes. Asked for our money, put a gun to my wife's head, and they were angry because, number one, my wife called inside to one of the four people who were there still for them to call the police that we were getting robbed, and they didn't want anybody to call the police. And so they were very frustrated at that point. My wife was pregnant at the time with our first child, and seeing a gun put to her head, I lost my temper, and I attacked the guy closest to me. I hit him as hard as I could, and he flew far back, and I charged him like a crazy wild animal to attack him again. And the guy with the gun, who had the gun to my wife's head, turned and shot me, and he hit me right in the ribs.
So you were running away from him?
I was, kind of like a cross.
Okay.
10 feet away, something like that. He hit me right dead center of my body, basically, between the two lower ribs there. I shouldn't have reacted like that. I could have. There's so many smarter, like looking back, I'm like, I should have been like, oh, what do you need? I'll get you anything from inside. We'll give you all of my things. Just like leave my wife and family alone. There's so many smarter ways I could approach it, but I attacked him, and because I probably watched too many stupid movies about like crazy heroes and things like that, and I just thought that was in my head. I'm like, oh, that's the right thing to do right now. And so to me, it feels like a total failure, even though you could look back and be like, oh, you're protecting your wife, you're a hero or whatever. But I came this close to dying, and I probably should have died that way, Dave, for a lot of reasons. But I didn't.
God wasn't done with you yet.
Yeah, God wasn't done with me. I ended up chasing those guys for about a half a block out of my yard, screaming at them before I realized I was bleeding to death and dying.
Yeah, it's crazy what a adrenaline will do.
They shot you and took off.
They shot me. When I got shot, I turned at the guy with the gun, screamed at him to get the hell out of my yard, and ran at him with my fist in the air, and he took off and ran. Now, the detectives, they never found a bullet casing, which means the gun probably jammed, because why in the hell wouldn't you shoot somebody who's charging at you after you already tried to shoot him, right?
Right.
Or you already tried to kill him. So anyways, I chase these guys out of the yard. I come back. My wife puts pressure on the woman, basically saves my life. She's like, Jennifer, call the police, call the ambulance. And she's like, Ben, get towels. And she puts pressure on the wound. And I'm sitting there just like screaming like an idiot. Just like, it hurts so much, whatever, like what you would do if you're shot.
You got shot, dude.
Through my whole torso. The bullet's still in me. It's on the other side of the rib cage. It went through so many major organs. I got them all listed out. I'll talk about it.
Oh my gosh, dude.
It's a lot. But God wasn't finished with me. I made my peace with him. I thought I was talking about low. I thought I was dead. I thought it was for sure dead. I made my peace with God. Like it was the end of my life. And it's one of those things where I think a lot of people are afraid of dying. If most people are, probably. It's something to be fearful of. Even the most faithful and the most religious folks who believe in afterlives, they still probably like, but what if there's not, and things like that. At that moment, I wasn't scared anymore. I thought it was completely over. That moment, and coming back from that and surviving that whole thing. I was in the hospital for a long time. The doctor saved my life. I remember like the moment before they put me under, looking at him, and be like, please save me. And then he's like, we got you. We'll take care of you. I was downtown in Minneapolis where they take all the gunshot victims, which usually from like drug violence and stuff like that. So all the nurses thought I was like a heroin addict or something, probably, until I talked to them. Because that's like
just
half
a designer.
Like, so many of the patients there are like, people who get shot in a bad drug deal or something, It all worked out for the better. And the thing I learned is to not let fear be my master, to take risks and to chase my dreams. And I've applied that to every part of my life since then. A little slower at first, but then it kicked in. And a lot of people, like, they're scared of, even in design, they're scared of what their boss is going to say about the work. The boss is scared of what their boss is going to say about the work. That boss is scared of what the customer is going to think of. They're all scared. They're all scared of the next person. And it's rare that you end up in a situation with a client that's really willing to take some serious risks to make some really amazing work. And so I learned a lot, even working at Target. I was still working there when I went there right after. I was at BBDO when I was shot, and then I went to Target after that. And when I get like weird revisions that would ruin a project, I just call them up. I'm like, I could try that. I could show it to you. It's not going to work though. And I have to like, what's really going to, because you want this to sell, right? Like you want this to be successful. I got the solution for you. Like we should do this. This solves your actual problem versus what you're asking me to do. And take that role of creative director back from the client and lead the creative, because that's what we went to school for, right? And I
sounds like it gave you a lot of confidence.
Yeah,
in those situations too. It's like, you know what? I'm not going to be afraid of it. So I'm just that confidence is going to come straight out, and I'm just going to say, here's the deal.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
My fear of man has gone way down. I take a lot
after that. I can imagine.
I take a lot more risks. With social media, like you see, there's so many people that are so scared to get on there and make like right now, you can blow up if you make reels. You show your face, you talk to camera, you talk through your ideas and concepts, but it's so much easier to just show your work and hide behind a logo and not. That's scary doing that stuff, Just in the past like 6 months, I've had people, like, because my social media following has blown up, there's still 5% to 3%, the people that just They hate me. They don't like the way I look. They hate the way I make peace signs at the end of my reels. They don't like my logo or my hat or whatever. There's just people with issues, and when you have more followers, those numbers explode up. And so you got to be brave. You got to be brave and get the stuff out there. And so that's
the internet's a fun place, right? Like, I don't like your logo. You're a horrible person.
Yeah, but that person that's telling you that, doesn't have their profile picture, doesn't show their work, and probably, is in a basement somewhere.
Yeah. I've worked from a basement somewhere.
Yeah.
Shoot. When we had our recent little one, I had this lovely office, and then all of a sudden I had to give it up for kids, and then I was in the basement for a minute there with like sheetrock, like not even sheetrock on the walls and stuff like that. I was putting like boards up for client meetings, like put up like a fake background.
For a fake background?
Yeah. Just try to do what I can to keep the business going and keep the family happy and everything.
Oh man.
So
that's wild.
I could keep going on that for a lot longer, but I know that you had a lot more questions and stuff you want to talk about too.
Oh, you're good, man. We appreciate you sharing that. I've heard it several times in several different ways, and then it's nice to like hear the details rehashed. So, the particulars. Like I didn't know that. The part where you charged back at the guy yelling who had already shot you, like that's wild to me that in that moment, that's where your mind was taking you. So that's a wild story, dude. And I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, and definitely been there, done that, and I got shot, but I definitely know where you're coming from. So if you were going to give some advice to changing people's perspective on failure, right? We all have a different way to view it and how we react to it. A lot of times we tend to be perfectionists on our work. I know I do that. Like I nitpick stuff to death. Have you always been able to embrace failure, or was it something that you had to learn over the course of your career to date?
Okay, so failure, they always tell you early on when you're young, they're like, you got to have rough skin to be, or the tough skin to be in this business. People are going to, they're like, you're worse, you're going to get criticized and you got to be okay with it. It always hurts a little bit. And that's always, I think it's natural to be a little bit sensitive. Longer in the business, it's easier to hide it and to try and take it less personal. But I think there's always a little bit of that. In general, to those early designers that are perfectionists and want to sit and polish something and get it perfect, I think you gotta work hard and you gotta fail a lot and to get to that success. You know, the story I always like to tell is about sketching. One of my first jobs out of school, that designer Nick who had gone on all those interviews, and when he finally did get hired, he worked with me. And the two of us were working on a logo project, and I don't even remember the name of the client. I just remember we both were given like 3 weeks, and we both did. I think he did 2 logos, and I did 3, and all of them were monograms with the 2 letters of the 2 names of the company, right? All 3 of them. So we did a total of 5 logos over 3 weeks, and we thought we were like these are so good. We thought they were the best, and we went in there, and the creative director, who's like that. We had 2 creative directors. We had one who was in charge of like usually ad stuff, and one that was in charge of design stuff. And so we were for whatever reason, even though we're doing a logo, we're with the ad guy, and so he's big on ideas and stuff like that. He wants something clever. He wants a spark of idea, something that's gonna be memorable, right? And monograms, as cool as they are, usually they're not the most memorable thing. It's just a monogram. And so it's like a couple letters put together.
Listen, I've made them. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, I've made them too. I've made a lot of monograms. Usually what's memorable about them is like if you can add a little bit of aesthetic story to it, or if you can put them together in a really clever, unique way that hasn't been done a billion times before. You know, like how do you make it different, differentiate it? Anyways, we come in with our 5 monogram logos, and we're like, oh, look at us. Aren't they great? And he's like, okay. He's like, can I see your sketches? And we're like, what? We're like, what are you talking about? We just did these on the computer, man. He's like, you've been working on this for 3 weeks and you guys made 5 logos? That's it? You didn't like come up with any other ideas? And we're just like, what do you mean? Like, I'm like, I did 3. You like did 2, you know? Ooh, over here.
That's the way to throw him under the bus.
And so he's like,
man.
We were supposed to meet with the client that week. He was like, I'm going to ask the client for 1 more week. Next Wednesday. It was like less than a week. He's like, I want to see 100 sketches from each of you. Pencil sketches. He's like, they don't have to be detailed. I just want to see 100 different ideas from both of you. And we did that. And I don't remember what logo they picked, but it was a good lesson in not sitting there and polishing an idea until you land on a really smart idea, you know? The whole like, don't polish a turd is like what they always said. That was the thing. It was like, you can sit there and polish it all day, but it's still a turd.
It's so true. So true.
So I force myself, even as running my own business with no boss telling me I got to do it, I force myself to do 50 to 100 sketches on every logo project before I hit the computer. And it forces me to push out of the expected. Remember hearing a long time ago, it was like a survey, or like say they had done some research, and it was, I don't remember if it was about logo design specifically, but it was basically creatives were, there's like 3 or 4 creatives were in like separate rooms, and they were given the same exact brief, and all the different creatives came up with their first 2 or 3 ideas were all almost identical. And then it wasn't until they got past the expected that they started getting more unique and original ideas.
That's a cool exercise.
That were unique to them. And I think I sometimes you still nail it first time out of the gate. Like I've had those ideas where I've been on the phone with the client and I'm like, oh dude, I got it, and showed him the pencil sketch, and
this is
like,
the one.
Yes. Yes.
Done. Let's go.
Is it cheaper now?
No. Twice as expensive.
But it helps just like flying through the ideas, and you get better at it over time. That's something that might be tough earlier on, but once you get a good method down, a good routine, I can have like, because I do my little brand down thing. I don't know if you know about that, but I come up with my subject matter for a brand mark.
Yeah,
and I do it with my client. We figure out basically what are your AI prompts, you know, for what your logo is going to be, you know? Oh, it could be a leaf. It could be a tree. It could be the letter L. It could be, you know, like whatever the things are. And then I start, well, what's a L with a leaf? What's a tree with a L? You know, like what's a leaf with a tree? I bet you I know what that looks like. But in general, I'll have like 3 or 4 logo projects going sometimes. And if I'm at the sketch phase with all of them, I'll have like a clipboard for each of them. And I'll just like sit down and like my kids can be playing, I can be watching them, and I can just be sitting there like just cranking through just like little thumbnails. Just
sit. I sit in front of my TV, do the exact same thing. Just sit there and sketch.
Yep. And
what I love about
I was just gonna say, like when you get in that creative flow, it happens fast. It's like you just got. Sometimes it takes a second, but like when you get your mind to calm down and not be distracted by all the social media and all the other things and all the screaming, and it's just like you can zone in, then it's almost simple. It's like a direct line from your brain to the page.
What I love about the sketch process too is, and I think, you know, when you work in a team environment, obviously you got your teammates. If you're, you know, individual business owner or freelancer, I know Mike and I used to do this back in the day when we freelanced together, is like we were each other's sounding boards. You know, you're the fresh set of eyes that you can show things. And I just always feel like when you do those sketches, as you mentioned, we often resonate and go with our first couple ideas or the 3 or 4 that we think are strongest.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know that somebody else might see one thing and go, wait, that makes me think of this. Or like Mike, you'll know, because I don't know if we can talk about it, the lightning bolt project. And Mike and I were walking through some concepts and I went, hey, there's a story in this, Mark. And he was like, dang, I love it. And like, we pitched that to the client and that ended up being the thing that was immediately picked up on. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't one of our primary marks at that time.
So it resonated though.
Yeah, but like just getting those ideas out there and opening up that circle of people that are coming in and giving some input and critique on it. Again, somebody might find that needle in a haystack with something that we glossed over or didn't think was there.
Mm-hmm.
So I always love that. Just that's why I like seeing the raw and messy files from people. I don't want to see the too refined concepts and that was it. Whether it's product design, web design, illustration, brand, whatever, let me see stuff, because maybe there's something in there that sparks an idea, or you combine with one of the primary concepts, and like that's the gold mine right there.
And drawing in general is so freeing, right? To get in there and just like let all your ideas out on paper.
Yeah.
Or whatever medium, you know, your iPad, whatever, however you do it. It's a freeing way to get all the things out.
My favorite part, and I know this is not off script a little bit.
Oh, do it.
My favorite part of the creative process, because people always ask you that, like, what's your favorite part? Is it when you get it done? You know, like, is it when you meet a client for the first time? Is it about the relationships? You know, like whatever. You know, it's like all the different things. My favorite part is when you solve the idea and you're like, oh snap, like that's it. Yep. Like how could they not like this? You're like that, and it's like you're like,
that's the goal moment.
You just like walk around with a smile for your the whole day. You're just like, yeah.
Well, that right there is the infectious part that gets everyone else excited. When you are able to sell whatever type of design work you're doing and go in with confidence and not just like, I think this is the right solution and, you know, this works really well, but it's like, no, I'm excited because look what we can do over here. And you see that, like, that's something that we talk about a ton with our team. It's little details of like, when you smile, when you talk, that becomes infectious. And when you bring that excitement to the table, it's hard for people not to match that energy versus, okay, we have 3 concepts for you today, A, B, and C. You know, I'm going to over-exaggerate.
Pick one.
What do you like best? Pick one.
Yeah. Versus
like, hey, I think all 3 of these are going to work and work really well for you. B is my favorite, and I'm gonna oversell you on why, because I think this one, like, look at all these possibilities. That energy gets matched and brought to the table, and then you see the clients like sync up with that, and they're like, yeah, I see it now.
They
like,
feel it.
I'm excited too.
Yeah,
you feel it.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that you see. I mean, some people are just better at communication than others, but I think that's a trait that you see designers over the life of their career get better and better at is that presentation of work and how to, feel comfortable with it. Because that's also kind of a vulnerable thing. As we talked about, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing this. Being told someone doesn't like a concept or work, that feels like a rejection. But being able to be like, okay, I'm going to open myself up. And if someone doesn't like what I love, that's all right. Let's, we'll find the next solution.
That's right.
But I think sometimes people are a little reserved out of that fear.
The part of the creative process that I just love is that spark when you solve the problem. I was trying to figure out like what to do for reels, because at the beginning of the year, last year, I had said to Maria, I was like, this year, one of my goals is I want to have a reel get over 1 million views. And she says to me, she's like, Allan, that's the stupidest goal I've ever heard you say in your life. Like, why do you want to do that? I'm like, it's just something I want to do. I think will be good for our business. I just want to see if I can figure it out. And I tried all sorts of different things and failed constantly. Gosh, you could go watch all my reels. There's the really bad ones I just deleted because they were just so trash. But there's some real cringy, dumb stuff on there. And I'm trying a lot of things. But what finally resonated is when I shared that moment in the creative process, because it takes a long time to make a logo. I asked for a client for 6 weeks from start to finish. I like to be able to sketch for 3 weeks on a project. I'm usually working on 4 or 5 projects at the same time, but I like to have the time to come up with an idea in the shower. Like another day I've come up with a couple more ideas here. And just like I'm jumping between them with my ADHD, trying to survive. It's just like I'm like on this project, that project, this project. But I did that in sharing that one special moment. It's like, here's a problem. Oh, that's an issue. Here's how we're going to fix it. And usually there's like something like, oh, I tried this, that wasn't working. But then I'd like slide some paper and like, oh my God, it's an ass. Who knew? Everybody's it just like freaks out and they love it. It's because it's that moment. It's that moment. It's like I figured out a way to take that super exciting moment and put in a reel, and it's worked. I've had like 25, 30 reels get over 1 million views in the last year.
Well, that's awesome.
That's insane.
It's been nuts,
that's
man.
So cool.
I thought like our business, like not that it wasn't doing bad or anything, but it was like doing really good. It was our best year in business last year. It was wonderful. And Maria finally, she's like, yeah, I was wrong. She's like, yo, that worked out. It's like,
You took that one and
she
stored it
never
away,
says
didn't you?
that. She never says she was wrong about anything. She's like, yeah, I was wrong about that.
Nice.
Is that the best thing about that?
Your process for that's awesome.
What's up, dude?
So was that the best thing about that? That her saying that?
Her saying that, was that the reason I did it originally?
No, I was saying, is that the best thing? Like, was that like the best thing about that hitting 1 million?
No, it was. It made me smile. No, we had a good relationship. There's no like weird stuff between us or anything like that. Where I'm just like, oh, I wish she would just love me more. And if I was this like,
See,
yeah,
she's awesome.
She would once you hit over 1 million views.
No, she'll love us. Thank goodness.
Oh my God!
It took like anything else in my career. It took a lot of failure to get to succeed at something, and it was just like figuring out what that special thing is, and it was the thing that I liked the most about design, and it was like right in front of my face the whole time.
That makes
you know Dyson, the guy the vacuum Dyson.
Yeah.
So I saw him speak at Target, and at the end of his talk, somebody asked him, they're like, "How do you innovate?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's a tough question. Like, how's he going to answer this?" And he's like, "Oh, that's easy. You find something that pisses you off about the way something works, and you fix it. You put a ball in the back of it." You didn't.
Oh man,
is that
put a ball in the end?
Is that a wonderful precursor to what we're doing in April? I know we're not going to talk about it yet, but we're launching a product that literally that's the premise of it. Someone asked, "How did you come up with the idea?" And we're like,
100%.
We got really pissed at the tools we had to use and how this all worked in that industry. So we did it. So that'll be fun.
Yep.
I'm curious to know, you through your career and, you've been doing this for a really long time. Like what's one of the biggest risks that you've taken in your career, and like, how did that pay off? Or, do you have that moment of like, oh man, doing this or taking that leap was kind of like the catalyst for everything clicking, or, being able to move forward and be successful and happy in what you're doing? Is there something that comes to mind with that?
Yeah. For sure, it was starting our company and going full time, leaving the safety of a job. And I know a lot of people, even like right out of school, they start their own design firms, or like they're a couple years out and they're just like, you know what, I'm just going to start my own thing. And they do it and they're successful and they have a great time of it. And sometimes they're not. But for me, especially with kids, and of course, like a minute ago, I'm like, oh, I'm so brave. I'm like, nothing scares me anymore. I was scared about leaving a full-time job, and my wife, she homeschools our kids, and she's a stay-at-home. That's her thing. She works with our company like a little bit, but it's usually just like during tax time and stuff like that. She helps out with some business stuff, helps me out, taking care of QuickBooks and making sure that I don't mess everything up. That I'm doing everything on the up and up. She's one of the smartest, most fantastic people I've ever worked with. She's a heck of a writer. If you ever read my book, the reason why it's readable is because I wrote it and then she went back through and made it awesome.
Nice. Don't all of our wives compliment us?
I was say, I think a lot of us follow that pattern of having that second set of eyes to make sure it's what it should be.
Yeah.
Are you tracking?
So for us, it was like, okay, I started freelancing and officially made Peter Design Company LLC back in 2008. That's what all those Roman numerals mean. But I didn't leave Target and do it full time till 2015. So that's a lot of freelance projects. And I started freelancing on the bus to and from work on a laptop when I was at Target after a while, because I was getting so many projects. And so I had moved down to Eagan, which was a 45-minute bus commute. So I had an hour and a half every day on the bus. And sometimes I just do fun, like pro bono projects. I branded our church and stuff like that. But then I was doing stuff for all of a sudden I was getting projects from Nike. I was getting projects from ESPN and all these big clients. I'm doing them on the bus with my Pantone book on my lap. And like, just, it got to the point where I was making more money on the bus than I was making at Target. And it was kind of crazy. And I was like, maybe it's time, dude. But it took me to that point where I felt confident and comfortable enough to leave my full-time job. Just because, growing a family and everything, it's like, I want to be able to afford my mortgage. I don't want to mess it up. I want to make sure everything is rock solid. And so, it was a scary thing for us, but it's been wonderful in terms of, I can get so much more work done in a shorter period of time because it's not a team. It's just me. I can just crank through projects and I still have people I can bounce ideas off and stuff like that. But
it also gives you flexibility.
I've had to learn how to really market myself well. It's sort of sometimes. So people talk about imposter syndrome or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, this person must be a great designer because they have so many followers." That doesn't mean they're a great designer. That means they're really good at Instagram, or they're really good at Twitter or whatever.
Yep.
They're very good at marketing.
We talked about that a little bit on the last episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Right, because I don't think I'm like based on my follower count reflects my quality. I think I'm a decent designer. I think I can hold my own. I'm competitive. I'll go toe to toe with anybody all day. But at the same time, there's some bad designers that will crush me out there, and they got less followers than I got. And I've had to do these kinds of things, like figuring out reels, figuring out all these the different ways to promote myself, posting my work down on my portfolio site, but on like Dribble and Behance and Instagram and Twitter and Blue Sky, whatever. I don't even have a Blue Sky account. I'm talking on my butt, but all of that. I do all the things, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Threads. There's that.
I don't know how you do it all, man. To be honest with you,
it is a lot. And my wife reminds me all the time. She's like, "That's work." If you're sitting there working on social media and you're making posts or you're answering comments, she's like, that's work time. So like, don't feel like if you're not sitting from the computer for 8 hours a day that you haven't worked 8 hours, because you probably have, because you've been sitting there dinking around. Yeah. Like monitoring a post or like posting to Threads to your Threads post or whatever dumb thing I'm doing, at the time.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about like taking risks and pushing through setbacks. Have you ever pitched something you knew it was bold, but you still did it like you're like, man, this is gonna be really bold, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And what happened?
I try and, in general, early in my career, especially when I worked in advertising and stuff like that, my whole thing was almost like, I can't believe we got away with that. Like, that was like, if I could, like, all my best projects were ones where like, oh, I can't believe they went for that. The little people on the big bullseye, with the dude head spinning on the R ball. Man, you like, just that R ball head spinner one, I was like, oh, I can't believe that's on the outside of stores. Like, that seems like I'm breaking so many rules, and like, there's no way this should be real. And so, like, I think that was a big thing quite a bit early on. But now that I'm doing, usually I'm working with, I work with big brands. I work with little brands. Like that just did the 50th year anniversary logo for the Buccaneers. It's going to be on the field. Yeah, they just announced it.
What?
I'm like,
what?
I know.
Let's
I'm not
go.
in.
Dude, that's awesome.
So like some big things, but then a lot of, like I work on churches and small stuff too, and all sorts of different things. I'm always trying to figure out like what is the best thing that's going to work for my client, what's going to resonate with their audience, that's going to make their product or sell or their service. So like, I want to make sure that's the most important thing for me. And sometimes that doesn't always align what the client thinks is the coolest thing or whatever, or that I think is the coolest thing. Sometimes it's like, I remind both of us, I'm like we got to make sure that like we're hitting that target market so that you're successful, I'm successful. Even if it's...
What do you do when it doesn't hit? Like when the client's like, no, thanks.
I have one cheat on that. So when somebody goes and looks me up and looks up my work and looks up, I'm kind of a style house. Like I do it because there's not 14 designers working here. It's me. And usually when they hire me, they want something that looks like something I did. So that makes it easier for me because I'm like, okay, I generally know the overall. I want something that looks like what I'm going to make. But at the same time, it's like, how do I make it unique and different and special for this specific? Have I ever had, usually the issues come in line when I'm working with a client that, gosh, let's say I get hired by an agency and the agency is working with the client and the client didn't hire me directly. Those are usually the more complicated because then it's more of a guessing game a little bit, and I don't always hit it like I'm not always like dead on right away. And I also I kind of cheat because I present 15 finished looking brand marks.
I remember, and
so like that's so I have very few of the meetings where they're like I don't like anything because I'm like, how can you not like it? You present 15 things.
There's got to be something
I guide
in
them.
Here for everyone.
I try and get them to pick specific ones.
Yeah.
And I don't present anything I don't like. That I don't think is gonna work. I try and make sure it's all good, but at the same time, that's I guess that makes me maybe that all this like I'm like, oh, I'm not scared of anybody, like, but I'm like, but here's 15 options. Whereas other people are like, I only present one because I don't care what the client thinks. Just me.
That's like what's his name with Apple logo, right?
There's a lot of designers that do that, but it's not that they don't do more concepts. Usually, it's it just has to do with their process. And they present one. And if the client doesn't like it, then they usually sometimes they'll have a back pocket one. I hear that a lot, like CJ or James Bernard and stuff like that. They'll have something. They're like, oh, you don't like that one? Well, what about this one? And then they throw out the other one. They have it kind of ready to go. And sometimes it just means a little bit more work with that initial one. They're doing like here's not just a logo. Here it is mocked up on 15 things on like a giant. It's like I'm almost like starting with the brand manual where I'm like starting with stuff that's like black and white brand marks with no type. I'm like, I might present 15, but I'm not presenting 15 full systems, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good tips.
What else? Yeah.
Actually,
I might not be directly connected to failure, but I wanted to ask this one because just having gone through a bunch of interviews ourselves lately for some positions that we were hiring, something I was seeing is a lot of designers are, or maybe have been without work for quite a while. Folks that maybe they lost a client or one of their biggest clients that was keeping them afloat, or they got laid off, just kind of feeling stuck. But seeing a lot of people that have been without work now for 6 to 12 months, honestly. And I don't know if that's just, some market saturation or going into election cycles, not a matter of who won, just there's always uncertainty every 4 years. That the 6 to 8 months leading up to that, everything tends to slow down. Like, what advice might you give folks to, kind of bounce back, or how do you make the most out of that downtime and get back into a good position there?
Well, it's good to have a plan. So, one of the things I want to do this year is I want to create some downtime, and I'd like to record a few courses on custom type, on badge design, on brand mark design.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, man.
And
sign me up.
That's something I wanted to do for a while, but I haven't had the bandwidth, and so I'm telling clients no, like quite a bit right now, and I'm pushing them off to other designers and people who need work right now, and trying to help out other folks, and just trying to shut the spigot off so I want to do that really bad. So I got that plan.
Nice.
However, if without a plan, what I'll do anytime I have downtime is I just keep making. I love designing. In the past, like when I was in school and over the summers, I would do hard labor jobs. I would do house painting. I did roofing, and the worst siding. I did siding. I worked in the ghetto, siding projects. And my boss hated me. He didn't think I was fast enough. He'd make me work in the rain. I remember they all went there. They all kind of laughed, and they all went to Home Depot to pick up supplies, and they left me working in the rain, and I had to rip off siding, and I was ripping it off, and I was so pissed. And my hammer, when I was ripping a piece off, flew backwards, and the sharp part smashed me in the tooth, chipped my tooth. And I was so angry. I was just like,
What?
oh, I never want to do this again. I hate this job.
Yeah.
And now I design logos for a living. God, it's so fun. I love doing what I do. I love going to work. I'm so glad I don't have to work in the rain with a boss who hates me. Working hard labor and stuff. Yeah, I guess so. Whenever I'm slow, I just keep making. If I got a little window, a crack away from the little window of time away from the kids. And even if I don't have a client to work on, I'll make a reel. I'll come up with a passion project. I'll help somebody out. Oh man, maybe I'll take on a project where somebody was like, well, I don't have a lot of budget. I'm like, whatever, let's do it. Let's just crank it out. And or sometimes right now I'll get people where they're like, I got this project that's there was one. There's Bistro 71, I think, like that. And then this guy DM me. He's like, "Hey man, I got this restaurant, Bistro 71, and I've been looking for an idea for a logo. It'd be cool if you work a butcher knife into it." And I was just like, and I was in the middle of 7 projects. And I was like, oh. And then I sketched something. Nope. 4th, I just sketch. That's it. Took a picture, sent it to him. I'm like, how about this? I'm like, no client, no budget, no,
just feed me a steak, man.
Like that cool? I'll make the digital files for you if you pay me some money.
Wasn't one of your one of those projects the town you live in?
Egan,
was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't that the police force and the whole town? Wasn't
yeah,
that
I reached out to them on Twitter. I was like, I was going by the water tower every day on the bus on the way to work, and I'd go by this water tower that had the logo where it was a clip art with Arial was the font. And then their actual brand font was something different, but it turned out that the state had made them use Arial for wayfinding purposes because it's more legible than the awful fonts I had picked. Anyways, I was like, I'll do it for free. Mike, let me just do a city logo. I moved here. It's awesome. The logo's not that great. It'd just be a fun project, and it turned into a big project with a big budget, and it was awesome. I mean, I got to brand my city, but.
Yeah, man.
I
that's good, dude.
just keep making. I guess just keep making stuff and fill your portfolio with the type of work you want to do. If you're not getting hired to do the stuff you like to do when you got that downtime, and just make all that.
Amen.
Or like you were just talking about, there was some issue. Like you just said that you're in April, guess what's coming? So we found something that made us frustrated, and we fixed the problem. Fix that problem so that it's been bugging you.
Yeah, that's it.
Use your downtime to fix that problem.
Great advice.
It's the fill your portfolio with the things that you want. I mean, we're doing that even as an agency. There's a lot of industries we work in. It's great. It's not maybe our favorite thing. So what are the things that we want to be doing? We surveyed with the team and went, all right, guys, what are the industries? Who are the clients that you want? We want to do more outdoors. We want to do more food and beverage. We want to do automotives and racing sports. Great. Then let's spend time, get those things in there and bring in those types of clients. And it's cool to see that. And so that's something that I observe as a hiring manager, where I'm going through portfolios and you see people that, because I'll see some of the same people apply again, 6 months later, 12 months later, 2 years later, and I'm like, your portfolio hasn't changed. So nothing new is standing out to me. It's not showing me anything else. I think a lot of people just kind of like wait and go, well, I'm really good. Someone's going to pick me up. Or have conversations with people that, maybe I interview them because I know them and I know they're really talented, or, I see some potential in there, but the work that's being displayed isn't necessarily the type of work that we as a company tend to do or focus on. And they'll be like, I know, but I can do it. Just give me a shot. And it's like, okay, maybe. And there's times where that may work out. But if I've got people that have applied and the work is killer and it is the type of work that we're looking for and whatnot, reality is we're giving them a shot first. And so it's one of those, like, I almost feel, I don't know if I'm being too harsh with this, but a lot of people are just kind of sitting back and staying on their laurels or something isn't quite right. But it's like something will come along, and it's, you're looking for people that are hungry and aggressive and do those passion projects, fill that portfolio. I don't care if you've been doing this for 10 years. I want to see some new and exciting stuff for you. And especially if
you got to put the work in.
You work somewhere that didn't allow you to be super creative. So the work you did is good, but it's not the work you want to be doing or the work that you are super proud of. Go make that stuff happen, whether it's freelance stuff, or, we do it every once in a while. If we've got a lull and a client comes along that doesn't have the budget to work with us, but I'm like, this project's cool. I just think Daniel here would love to work on this because it aligns with his interest or whatever, whether we maybe, I don't know, we've never done anything totally for free, but it might be look, what's your budget? Fine. We'll work with it. Like, I'd rather have a little work for us to do than nothing. And this would just be a killer portfolio item for us because I know we'll kill it. Go make that stuff happen. So I love that you honed in on that.
I agree with that.
I think a lot of people, it's just this, like, I don't know. I applied 50 places. One of them will eventually hire me.
Yeah.
I want you to be the standout.
That's not the best way to do it.
Yeah. If you could think back to, just think of young Allan, design school, what would you tell him about, facing the challenge of failure? Like, what would you tell young Allan, about facing those challenges of being afraid of failure and taking risks?
To never give up. Take the big projects, the small projects. If there's no big projects, take the free projects. If there's no small projects, make up your own projects. If there's like not even like those, just like just keep going. Fill that portfolio with the type of work that you want to do. Like we just talked about, especially if you're not getting the work that you're like you have the potential for. Show that you have that level of taste to do the type of work that you want to do. Get it all the time. Where like I have a specific project that just came in, and I sent it over to a buddy. The client replied back. They're like, I don't want to work with him. I want to work with you. He can't do what you do. And it's not that he can't. The guy who I sent him to graduated with me from the same school and has had a hell of a good career and is one of the best logo designers in the damn country. And the person just probably had to do with like what were the first 3 projects in their portfolio, and they just didn't align with. They weren't the exact thing this person was looking for, right? Some people need to see the exact, like, I'm doing a Tylenol style brand. I need a Tylenol looking logo. Like, they just like they can't get past that. You're like, I did one that looks like,
you see that
sounds so familiar.
They're like, we do business. Do you know how to do B2B? It's like, of course I know how to do B2B. It's the same as the other stuff. It's just a logo, man. It's like,
right. Do you do place branding?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know how to do? Have you ever done any logos for other restaurants? I'm like,
sure. No, just this one. Just my favorite restaurant.
There's
gosh. Yeah.
But it makes them feel comfortable to know that like oh, you do something that looks really similar to what I'm looking for, you know? Like I had somebody who was like doing like a mayonnaise brand, and they're like, I love that logo you did. That was like, I made a project for USDA organic. And they're like, I like that, Mark. That you did that. Like that would be like something like that would be perfect for this mayonnaise brand. And I was like, I love
hearing that, because the personal projects or the, hey, I just did this because I thought it would be fun. Like I look back on my own career, on our company. Those are the projects that have brought in the most amount of new work, not I did this thing for a client. Like the stuff that you're excited about are aligned with your interests. That's where you put the most passion, and that tends to be the work that showcases best. And something else you mentioned about, like, say yes to the big projects, say yes to the small projects, because you never know what that might lead to or who that may open up, you know, a door with, who they know. Like I remember I had a project one year where similarly I had a 2-hour commute on the drive when I worked at GoFundMe, and or not on the drive, on the train. So I just sat there and worked for 4 hours a day and did freelance stuff, same kind of thing. And I had a client that reached out. They needed a little bit of help, and like their budget was $700. And I was like, all right, usually I would be like, that's not even worth my time to write up a contract for. Let's, you know, I'll send you to someone else or whatever. I was like, let's do it. Shoot me $700. I'll get it done. We don't need to worry about contracts or whatever. We did it. He loved everything and knocked it out of the park. Well, phase 2, which started then a week later, was $30,000. Nice. So it was this like, that was a good reminder not to discard what we often think of as the really small project that's unimportant or not worth our time. You never know what that leads to or whatever. So sometimes there's let's see how we can make this work. I think I can help here. I think I can make an impact in this person or this company's life. And, you know, we've had that at times too, where you've got clients where you're going, like, I want to make this happen. I don't have the time for you right now, but if this isn't super time sensitive, I'll fill you in between things, or, you know, I'll let you know when we've got some downtime, and we'll do this at a discount for you. We just want to make this happen. It's a good reminder to do that stuff.
Let's talk about, you know, funny moments. Like, you know, you're a funny guy. I've hung out with you. I've eaten meals with you. Even in this entire podcast, there's been moments where we're like all laughing our asses off. Looking back at your career, is there a failure that you're grateful for?
I think anytime you learn something and then it transforms your life for the positive, even if it's a bad thing, like getting shot, like I won't wish that on anybody, but at the same time, it changed my perspective, it changed my career, it changed my life just for the positive, which it could have broken me, you know, like, and I'm grateful for how it changed me, but that can happen on a lot smaller scale, you know, you can be like, oh my gosh, like,
it probably does.
Maybe you learn something about, gosh, my process works better when I present 4 ideas versus 2. You know, it can be a little thing. It can be like a little lesson, a little learn, you know, like where we face plant or something like that. But
like pants versus no pants when presenting. I get it. Is there a moment in your career where you look back and you laugh about it now, but like then it was like super cringy or like, oh my God, I cannot believe that happened, but like now it's super hilarious.
I don't know, it's super hilarious, but I've had a lot of failure, like especially with social media, man. I've tried so many cringy, awful things where I'm like, oh, this is awesome, and then like you'll just like tank. Like I tried, like all these people were like, you got to do the Kia logo, and that is such a heated freaking thing, like to even mess with. There's like so many people that love it and so many people that hate it, and honestly, like what I learned from doing the whole exercise was that Kia perfectly rides the line between legibility and style. It turns into a. I do too. I like it too. I think I love cool. Little like sci-fi looking bad type like that. Like, I think it's great, man. Like NASA logo, Kia.
My wife drives.
I think it's nice. And people be like, well, I can't see the A or whatever. Like they need to have the crossbar on it, and they complain about it, and they put a crossbar on it, and it looks dumb. Like, oh, it looked way better without that crossbar. Yep. So, anyways,
but you know it's a Kia.
Yeah. So all these people are like, oh, you should do it. So I'm like, okay, I gotta do something more than like just put a crossbar on it. Let's see if I can come up with something. And then I did something, and it sucked. Like it was like panned. Like there was a Reddit post like within the first 5 minutes of people and be like, Allan posts the worst design flip ever. And like all the Reddit people are like, I hate his face. But he was like with his, I deleted it. Like, I was like, get this up there. It's like so bad. There's lots of dumb things there's more than just like that one, but there's like a lot of times, like, or I'll post something and I'll like have like a really bad typo, or I'll say a dumb thing, or the client will be like, whoa, you misspoke about us or whatever, and I'll be like, quickly like delete it out there and like to go fix it or redo it or whatever, I don't know. I think there's the most failure with those types of things. The nice thing about what I do for a living and my company is a lot of my projects, especially since I left Target, are a lot of the same. It's like I make a logo in a brand book. They're this, like, that's almost all my projects. It's rarely do I get one that's like at Target where they'd be like, all right, we need to brand a Zamboni, and it'd be like, ooh, that's fun. Like the Zamboni. And then you get to go see the Zamboni on the ice or whatever. Or like you're like going to brand a giant event and be like, okay, well, like how could I do that? And like there would be like a lot more mix of advertising and guerrilla and like different like ideas to it. And right now it's just like, how can I make a really good brand mark? And how can I make my process bulletproof so that like I don't, like, anytime I see a hiccup or a way to improve it, I clean it up and I change it and I make it adjustments until it just like it runs like a well-oiled machine. I think one of the big things that I've learned in the last 10 years of running a company is it's less about like how to improve as a logo designer. It's more about how to improve running the business. And it's like identifying those red flags before you take the project.
That's the hardest part of it.
This person can be hard to work with. Just because like the way they you can like one sentence you'd be like, oh, not that one. And
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The business side is tough. Yeah. It's really tough.
Can I ask you a follow-up question about that?
Yeah.
About process?
Sure.
So like talking about refining your process, do you like, how does that work? Like, is it after every project, do you kind of just, let's take a look at this last project and see like, where can I improve? Like, is it a very methodical thing or is it more like organic or?
So I learned to design logos in school, and then I learned from a different creative director and then another creative director and another, and they all have their different processes and their different ideas on how it should be done. A lot of that time it was just like bring in all the designers and have them all throw ideas at the wall, and like it was just like it was like throw a dart at the wall almost. It was so many random things and so many different. It was like, and there was so much competition involved and stuff like that. I just say there wasn't. It was usually like finished looking logos. Whose logo looked like the most refined and polished and had like a full system to it. They'd like it because they'd talk more about a specific one rather than somebody coming with a bunch of like really rough ideas. Usually the person at the more polished idea would end up like moving forward. And there were all these different things. You learn how to do it. Like when I worked at Target, it was the best idea wins. And I was just like, I would just fill the walls. I would be like, all right, let's go. Like I'll put up 40 ideas if you put up 3. Let's go. Like I want to win this thing.
Nice.
It wasn't as much like I was like going after the other person. It was more like I like playing games, and I like winning in games. I like video games or whatever games with my kids, and then I let the wife always win. She always wins. But anything else, I'm like, let's go. Maria's like, I will not play Monopoly with you ever, Allan.
You got to be careful though with kids now, because like we played Mario Kart with our little ones.
Yeah,
and of course at first you're like, it's that classic, TikTok, Instagram meme of like, oh, Dad, you want to play this fun game? And you're like, oh yes, I've been waiting for this for 20 years, and you just steamroll them.
I'm about to dominate you.
And then I started looking up, hey, what's the best combo or whatever.
Yes.
And then my kids started studying. So they're watching videos on YouTube of like how to drift and get boosts and stuff in Mario Kart. And then like they're practicing with each other and finding all the little shortcuts and whatever. My wife and I, it is a serious competition now. These kids can beat us at any time. It is no longer the domination.
Oh man,
that makes it fun.
Yeah. When I worked at Target, I was part of the Target Credit Union. That was like their bank there, and they had a competition, Mario Kart competition. This is back when it was on the Wii U, And I may have competed in this competition while I was down doing my banking. And they kept scores for like an entire week of everybody who played it. I won. I won the Mario Kart. I beat all the old people who were doing their banking.
Hold up. So what I'm hearing is that we need to have a Mario competition on stage during.
I would have to practice. I don't play enough. I don't play enough anymore. We got it.
It's too late now. It's too late.
We got the game. Don't get me wrong, but all right,
it's happening.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Alan's gonna spend like 20 hours from now to Creative South just practicing Mario Kart just to get ready for
I was gonna say
100%.
The talk might be a little rough, but that Mario Kart is gonna be polished and practiced and dialed.
Yeah. No, I could play the game almost bulletproof, but it's just like I don't know all the they have like the secret pathways and stuff. I don't have those memorized.
Yeah. College. That was us in college. I missed that. It was fun, but it wasn't on like the crazy stuff you know. It was like on a whatever Super Nintendo, but good times nonetheless. So time wise, we're getting at time, but I want to end this by wrapping it up, talking about your book. Let's talk about Logos That Last. What inspired you to write this book? Tell us all about it.
When I worked at my first gig out of school, I met my wife, and she was in college at the time, going for interior design, and then she ended up switching into marketing after that. But she would come and she would do her homework, and I would work late, not because I had to, but just because I was trying to get good, and I wasn't a very good designer at the time. I'm sure I thought I was. I'm sure I thought I was like this, like feels like so. I think my ego was like gone way down from like I had a big ego there, but I thought it was like the work was trash. It was so bad. But I want
to see some of this sometime.
I could probably dig something up. I have
do it.
But my wife would come and hang out, and I would work like till 1, 2 in the morning sometimes, and she'd fall asleep on my couch hanging out. When I'd be like working there, I'd be working on like trying to make a font or like trying to figure things out. You know, it's like not always like usually like some sort of passion project or some interesting thing. I was way into Flash back in the day when then Flash websites were huge. And I would spend so much time working on like portfolio sites and learning all the code and everything for it.
Yeah.
But we would talk about our future, you know, like, getting married, having kids, all that kind of stuff, and goals for the future and stuff like that. And one of the things I said, I was like, I've always wanted to write a book. Never thought I was good enough. Ever since I was a little kid, that would be pretty amazing. And then I remember reading Stephen Heller's book on Paul Rand and thinking, wow, like that, what a career accomplishment. Like that is so amazing. Just like reading about, and it's funny because like in that book, it ends on like, it has like his tombstone, his like custom designed tombstone in the book. Oh, it's just like it's from like that moment he was born till he's dead. Like it's like the whole thing all in there, and all his work and all his thought process and awesome stories and stuff like that. And it's like such a good book. And that one is story. You know, like that's case studies and story. And a lot of these books are kind of like that, like more of like a memoir. You know, like you read Draplin's or Beirut's or something like that. I put it out in the universe that I want to do it because like I was telling Maria, I was like, now that I'm running my own company and I've kind of been working toward like maybe being able to do that at some point. She's like, if you really want to do it, she's like, you need to just put it out there. And like a publisher might hear it. You never know. And I was figuring I'd just end up self-publishing something, putting something together myself. But I made one IGTV video back when that was a thing. I don't know if you remember, IGTV was pre-reels, and it was like a 15-minute long. I don't know who was watching 15 minutes of anything on Instagram. But at the end of it, I was like, the reason, you know, I reviewed those two books I just mentioned, the Draplin's and Beirut's, and at the end of it, I'm like, I would love to write. The reason I'm reading these is for inspiration because I'm going to be writing my own book. I want to do it. It's a dream of mine, passion project. And Rockport, who's published a lot of design books, a big publisher, reached out to me, Jonathan, and he's like, let's do it. Let's. You want your shot? He's like, here's what you got to do. He's like, if you write a good pitch deck, and like, what's going to make your book different than these other ones in the market? What makes your book special? Like, why is somebody going to want to pick it up? And it's going to be different than, like, I have tons of design books on my shelves, but like, why is your logo book different than those other logo books? And what's that unique spark that makes it worth buying and picking up? So I did that. I wrote the pitch, and my idea was, I always love going back and antiquing and digging in small town museums and stuff like that, and finding these unsung heroes of design, these beautiful designs that have stood the test of time, but you don't even know who the designers are on them. And there's a lot of designs that are beautiful that you do know who they do. So all the Saul Bass work, all the Paul Rand work, all the Alden Lustig work, it's just like the Lance Wyman. They're just like, there's so many great influences from the past. But why does like the NBC Peacock, why is that still the same? Why hasn't it been improved anymore? Like, what makes it so special? The Chase Manhattan Bake logo, why is that, like, what makes that so unique? And so I was like,
for sure,
I guess I've always been kind of chasing that, like, beneath the surface, trying to figure that out and apply that thinking to my work. Like, how do you make a logo stand the test of time? What are the key tenets? What's the secret sauce that I can apply to my work now that will make it so that hopefully in 50 years, it's going to still be around? And so I took everything I knew and I started putting it all together and organizing it, and even digging deeper, researching. I interviewed a lot of different designers and stuff and asked their opinions on it. And I took everything, pushed together, and wrote this book called Logos at Last. And it's all my work in here, but it's not just case studies, not just a memoir or anything like that. The half of it is going through my process. Here's how I design brand marks. Here's how I design badges. Here's how I design systems, the brand systems. And on top of that, it's like, here's how I sell it to the client. Here's the way I set up my deck so that I'm going to be successful. Because you can make great logos all day long, but you got to be able to sell them too. That's like a big part of it. And that's when I read about these books about like the Saul Bass, his presentation was unworldly. Like he would do all sorts of crazy stuff. Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'll get you some food. So, can I tell them about my book for one more second?
No, it's hungry.
Can you tell them they should buy it? Say, buy this book.
Buy this book.
There you go.
Yes, let's go.
It's done good. It's sold 20,000 copies over the last year or so, which is crazy.
Holy.
Go, man.
It was
Congratulations.
It was a passion project, like a bucket list thing I just wanted to do, and it has sold remarkably well. And then also with my Instagram profile taking off, that helped. I sold a lot of books in the last quarter last year. But yeah, it's a dream come true, and I'm super grateful to Rockport for doing that. And they want to do another one. I was saying I want to put together some courses. They're like, why don't you do a workbook that goes with the courses, and we'll publish it for you and have it all be like a 2-in-1 thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think that may be the
Congrats.
I love it. My kids do this to me during college.
Dude, this is straight up real life right now. I love it.
Well, I mean, I
don't want to keep you.
Yeah, I was saying we'll
go ahead,
to wrap up here. I know we've already gone long today, and man, we appreciate it. I'd love to have you back on again and like go through one of those projects, because that's something we've talked about a lot, and why I think designers should pick up your book is having that kind of demystified in the process, because that good process, that breakdown and understanding of why is really how designers are going to level up, not just seeing cool work on Dribbble and Behance and on portfolios and stuff. So yeah, if folks haven't already, come on out to Creative South. Hear Allan's talk there. He's going to be doing a workshop as well. He'll be selling the book and doing book signing. So yeah, man,
come get your copy, get it signed live.
I love it. We appreciate you coming on here with us.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. We do appreciate your time today. And yeah, we'll see you soon, brother.
I can't wait until April, you guys. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun seeing you in person instead of through a screen, man.
You know that's right.